What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. So, I'm back with the prediction. I know it's kind of late. The fight hasn't come up yet, but the fight will be airing tonight. And that's Chris Arreola versus Seth Mayhem Mitchell. Looking forward to this fight. A good little flick, a little fight to watch on a Saturday. Um, I've just been real busy. My prediction video is not hard to make. Again, I was just kind of booked up and busy doing stuff, but my prediction's fairly simple. The way I see the fight, I think is similar to how it will actually play out. Um, I do have Chris Arreola winning this. Um, I'll explain in my video why I feel that Chris Arreola will win this fight. Um, Seth Mitchell, he's an American fighter. They were priming him to be the next American heavyweight, to take over for the Tommy Morrisons, rest in peace, the Ray Mercers and Mike Tysons. In the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, heavyweight boxing really ruled. The biggest stars, the Muhammad Ali's, the George Foremans, the Frazier's, they all were in the heavyweight division. But we've noticed another trend as boxing has evolved. Now in the lower weight divisions, we have superstars like Manny Pacquiao, Mayweather, Nonito Donaire, and there's plenty more rising phenoms and people. But back in the day, it was the heavyweights. It was all about the heavyweights. A lot of people were priming Seth Mitchell, saying he was the next American heavyweight. Um, he started boxing late, which is a problem. There's only been a few boxers who have started late that are more or less an anomaly, a very rare commodity. I think people like Sergio Martinez, he was able to pick up the sport, take his early losses, and reinvent his whole career after his loss to Antonio Margarito, and he seemed to get better with time. Up until recently, he's looked a little bit on the B side of his career, but he's done some pretty miraculous things, beating people like Kelly Pavlik, Chavez Jr., much younger than himself, and that kind of thing. But Seth Mitchell has a football background. He started off playing football. An injury kept him from pursuing his football career, and he got into boxing. The problem with that is why more people aren't successful that pick up boxing late is boxing is a thinking man's game. There's some people like Floyd Mayweather's or De La Hoya, whoever you want to use for an example, and they've boxed so long that certain things become second nature. Like if you watch Mayweather do the pads with his uncle, he can do it effortlessly and he can do it without looking pretty much. I've seen him and other people use the speed bag and they have the rhythm down so pat that they can not even look at the speed bag and then hit the speed bag fast. I think I seen Victor Ortiz do it when he was preparing to fight Mayweather. And that's because these people have been fighting since they were kids. This is repetition. This is time and time doing it over and over and over again. So my point being, you get a fighter like Seth Mitchell who starts late. There's certain things that they don't pick up. So you look at Seth Mitchell versus Jonathan Banks, another fighter who grew up in the Detroit area. He went to the Kronk Gym. The late great Emmanuel Stewart mentored him. He's had boxing in his blood. That's been part of his career path for quite some time. I did an interview with Jonathan Banks, so check that on my channel. You can just search for it. And he was talking kind of about Detroit boxing scene and his upbringing and that kind of stuff. So make sure you check that out. But it starts to show when you have somebody like Jonathan Banks versus Seth Mitchell. In the second fight, I don't really know what was up because it looked like Jonathan Banks was hurting Seth Mitchell, but he wasn't really active. It's like he didn't want to win. I don't know. He looked uninterested, so I don't really know. But the first fight, he stopped Jonathan Banks, or excuse me, he stopped Seth Mitchell, and it was because, again, there's little nuances and little things that are habit. There's little flaws that people who start boxing late develop, or they have never practiced against it. So for those reasons, I think Seth Mitchell is going to lose. I see him getting stopped. Another thing is I don't like the way he receives or takes punches. It doesn't look like he has good punch resistance, possibly because he started late, so he's not used to that type of blow. There's different types of contusions. There's different types of trauma playing football, you have pads. Not to say that it doesn't hurt, but it's a different type. And you have other things to nullify, like a helmet. Maybe you're bigger than the person who's trying to tackle you. Just different variances. In the heavyweight division, one punch can change everything. And most of those motherfuckers in the heavyweight division aren't small. And you have no headgear. You have no helmet. You have no pads. You have like a cup. And that's really it. So taking those types of blows, not like I said, in football, I'm not downing football. I love football as well. You can get concussions and all kinds of stuff. But it's a little bit different than getting punched by someone who's trained to punch. So I don't like the way Seth Mitchell receives blows when he gets hit. I don't like how he takes them. So I don't see it being good for him against Chris Arreola. Chris Arreola, I think, has a better resume. I think he's more experienced. Just the fact that Chris Arreola went the distance with the Klitschko says wonders. Even his last fight was a loss against Bermain Stavern. And the fact that he went the distance in that fight shows you this man has a chin and he has a heart, because he was getting cracked. And it looked like his nose was broken, and possibly was broken. And he got cracked early. And I was just like, oh my God. Like, it was at the end of the round. It was totally unexpected. And he got crumbled. And you know what? He got right back up. So trying to measure a guy with heart like that and a chin like that to go. And I do think Bermain Stavern is a more fluid boxer, puncher. I think he has more punching power. I think he's more seasoned as a boxer than Seth Mitchell. So Chris Arreola versus Seth Mitchell, I don't really know. Again, in the Jonathan Banks, the rematch, Seth Mitchell won, but it wasn't an impressive win. It looked like he was like tooth and nail against a guy who didn't look like he wanted to fight, and he was barely skating by. It looked like he had some rocky, shaky moments in that fight. I seen him in the first Jonathan Banks. He hurt Banks, it looked like, and Banks recovered, and then the next round, he knocks out Seth Mitchell. And even before that, I've seen Seth Mitchell, he fought Chaz Witherspoon, and even though he knocked out Chaz Witherspoon had him hurt also. So, again, I know it's heavyweight, different styles make different fights and that kind of stuff, but again, Chris Arreola, I think he has the seasoning. I think he has the crack in terms of his punching power. He has a chin. He obviously has no give up. He has heart. And he went the distance with the Klitschko. That says a lot, because the Klitschko, if you look at other people like Char or whoever else, Klitschko's Tony Thompson, he runs through, they both run through people. So the Klitschko's, both of them, are definitely the top echelon of boxing. So to go the distance with either Klitschko, I'd say that's pretty impressive. They had him beaten, I think, in most categories in terms of reach and height. And like I said, he went the distance. So I don't really see what Seth Mitchell is going to be able to provide. Again, it's heavyweight boxing. I could be wrong. Maybe the Stavern fight rattled Chris Arreola or something like that. But from my projection, based on paper and what I've seen from both fighters, I would say that Chris Arreola has the punching power, chin, heart, and determination, as well as the experience to knock Seth Mitchell out or stop him. So I see him getting stopped fairly early, actually, rounds 3 through 5, somewhere in there. I see Chris Arreola just becoming too much. And like I said, I like Seth Mitchell. He seems like a very likable, humble person, but there's little things you don't pick up when you start boxing late. And unfortunately, in the heavyweight division, one punch can change anything. Like one mistake, if you forget to put your guard up or whatever, you might be there on the canvas. So my prediction, Chris Arreola stops or knocks out Seth Mitchell rounds 3 through 5. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think of this fight. Who do you want to win? Who do you want to see win? Let me know something. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.